Hello, servus to my Spiritborn guide. I will present this build I used to climb the leaderboard on Held Heights, and it's currently number 1 from all evade builds. And it's superior to mostly of the evade builds that are presented on the bigger sites. So let's get into it. The classic board with the skills. It's nothing really surprising here. Just the first build here, the Thunder Spike, for it to activate the third board, because we don't need anything from the core board. It's just bullshit. And then this board here, we use Vortex to group our enemies, because we use the fire aspect amulet. So you use this, and we use Vortex reduce cooldown, because the only thing what's important here is grouping and cooldown reduction. So no need for more damage, just this. Okay, then we have here some additional dodge chance, just because we have spare points. We are permanently unhindered and unstoppable, so this is very good. So get it on 3. The other stuff here, like this, it's like on every other build. 3 here for damage reduction, 3 here for damage addition, and 1 here. It's not needed, just to unlock this. So then a more important board, we take only 1 in armored height, and just this 2 for unlocking the 10 resolve stacks. It's not really needed in this build. Many other evade builds out there on the current state use armored height with 5 updates, and is banking on armored height, but we don't need armored height in this setup. We do concussive stomp just to have some cooldowns we can click. We'll explain it later how this build works. So we do this and unlocking to get an additional stomp. It's a little bit defense. You can get some barrier from it too, and some max life, so it's nice to have, I would say, but defensive is really good on this build too. But you need it to unlock more damage. So yeah, concussive stomp. Then we have counterattack in there for the passive 30 strike damage, like in every other build. Don't use Scorch, mainly because I don't like Scorch too much to play with it because of the fear effect, and I want to group more. But Scorch is an option too. But you have to look if the rotation, what I will explain later, will work with it. I didn't test it because I don't like it. We had spare points, so just no poison resistance in there, and some healing. Those points are spare on the end, so I put it there. It's the only thing that makes a little bit sense. Here 10% block chance, important, and barrier generation, very important. So this is very important too. Next step, we have here damage multipliers. Multiplier 1, multiplier 2, multiplier 3, and plus 1 evade charge, of course, and multiplier 4. And this one is a defensive one, but it's nice to have some more life. We have to have around 10,000 life. That's enough with everything, with every buff and everything. So it's nice to have. And like I said, you don't need so many skill points for this build. So yeah, the modifiers, the damage modifiers are very important too. So the best modifier would be Brilliance, but Brilliance isn't stackable with the Sunburst Gadget because we have no normal amulet. The next important one is Potent. Yeah. Then our ultimate board and the other board. We run the Hunter, and we run it fairly often, so get it to max. Then we take here the Ultimate Damage edition and Supremacy, the classic one. Nothing special here. And then Adaptive Stance. Because we stack really much Dexterity, and Adaptive Stances makes the most sense and the most damage out here. Yeah, that's the skills. To the Paragon board, I set it up in my own way, not on the official ways. It's nothing special. Everything that's important will get hooked here. So I just explained the glyphs I use here. In the first one, I use the critical strike damage glyph because we stack really much with critical strike damage. So this is a must-have. And this board gives extraordinary much dexterity. So it gets here. Then we have on the second board, we have Colossal. Colossal is important too. You can run another sword with the Jaguary skills. That stacks an extra critical strike damage on it. But here we have some damage multipliers on it. So we use this. It's a little bit better than the Jaguary, in my opinion. So we use the Gorilla one. And we are nearly every enemy in pit pushing too, so damage to close enemy isn't too bad. It's not needed for speed farming, but in speed farming this build works too. So it's just one shot, and then damage to close enemies doesn't make any difference. So yeah. So we take this because we have 10 resolve stacks, 10% multiplier is better than some critical strike flat damage. Yeah. Next one is the most important glyph, the Stormfader Potency glyph. This is the board with the most dexterity, so it gets here. Then the Talon glyph for eagle damage, and then the Canic glyph for more non-physical damage. We only do non-physical damage, so yeah. Nothing special here beside the Gorilla Colossal glyph. So, and we use our primary Spirit Hall Eagle. Of course, you need it to play any weight build. And on the second one, we play Gorilla, not Jaguary. And that has a simple background, because we are no using any mythics, because the mythics are nice to have and you can build around this stuff, but for the most damage output you don't need any mythics. Yeah. Before we start in the gear and the detailed explanation, just for the boss powers. The boss powers are really insane this season. Just get 50% critical strike damage here. Easy. We just get increased damage from the elements. Easy. That's the most important glyph. Evade cooldown reduction, what makes to start this build really easy. And Uriwas, we don't need any of the ultimate skills, we just have this into for 15% cooldown reduction. So we have this cooldown reduction, this cooldown reduction is just cooldown reduction, the others are just damage potent. Nothing special. So now to the core. The core here is we don't use any Harlequins. Harlequins enables you get 100% uptime from Armored Hide, and then you stack around Armored Hide with more duration, these there, and what the fuck. Then you use your Synth Shell in other builds. You don't need anything of this. It's just you play Ebewaka. Ebewaka does 30% damage per Spirit Hall. So you have Eagle. That means your Stormfighters are Eagle skills. You get a Spirit Hall Gorilla. So there are 2 Gorilla skills. And we play Sunbird's Gorget. So there are Jaguary 2. So it does 90% multiplier damage. it does a higher multiplier than Hair of Prediction. And Hair of Prediction just gives any crit strike chance, but you don't need any crit strike chance because we have 50% from the boss. So Hair of Prediction gives us nothing. And Harlequin's Crest does some defensive stats, but does not do any damage multiplier to us. So it is just worthless. It activates some cool potential with the high cooldown reduction, and then you use the Armored Hide, but you don't need this. It's just bullshit. You just need a 30% Ebewaka. It doesn't have to be a greater affix and Kestrel one. It's just nice to have with all stats because it activates the glyph fair more often. But with here with the adaptive stances, you activate them either way. So all stats is just nice to have some extra dexterity. Damage reduction would be a nice one for later, but yeah, it's just nice to have. Just need 30% Ebewaka. Yeah, where we take a Bug and an Ohm just for 15% more damage multiplier. So we have an 105% multiplier with runes on Ebewaka. Sick. Then really important, we play Sunbird Scourge because this Firestorm is a Stormfeather skill and we scale with Stormfeather. We really get a really good damage potential from the Gorget, and we get 3 multiplier aspects on it too. The most important one is Potent, that gives the most multiplier. The second one is Acceleration, this gives the second most multiplier. And the third one is Furnace. It's nice to have 2, but it's not important like the other one, and movement speed is just useless. And it's really important to get a good damage output here because, like, it's a Stormfeather, you do good damage with this. Yeah. Okay, that's the basic uniques you need, and that's it. You need no mythics, you need these 2 uniques, and you even need just non-ancestral here, so it's very budget. Third important item here is an +3 maximum evade charge boots. Because you need +3 and +1 from the skills to get on your evade and can evade through everything. If you get a high roll here, it's possible that you just need one master working hit on evade cooldown reduction, but I would suggest 2 because safe is safe. There's some issues with Thunder Spike sometimes, and yeah, then it's nice to have. The last point, you don't need 3 because these cooldowns on the boss powers are totally enough. The rest on dexterity for sure, it's most damage output. We took 5 ferocity stacks here because, like here, our Stormfeathers are Jaggery skills, so we stack with all modifiers on the board. What that affects Jaggery. So of course we take ferocity because more ferocity stacks is more damage. We don't need any attack speed, I know, but Fornace as an example here does in critical strike damage, and we does stack critical strike damage a lot. Yeah, we took here vortex size. If you're a little bit squishy, you can do barrier generation here too, but I like vortex size for grouping for higher pit tiers, so take vortex size here. Then the important damage modifiers are, I see I did missing from my test here. We'll change it as SAP. This is pretty. So this is redirected force, and then it's das unyielding. Up. Whoopsie. Here. So now that's are the most important damage modifiers. It's unyielding hits. so you need at least a good amount of armor. A good amount is, I wrote it down, 3,425. And that's with Rahir. If you're solo pushing with Alchemist, you get 452. So you have a good amount that you need on your armor, but you need 3,425 base. And then if you are in fight, you get the armor from the chest, and that stacks an additional 46%. So the stacks here, the 3,425 get to 5,000, and you have the maximum amount. If you have a maximum unyielding hits one, if you have 28%, you have to do the math on how much armor you need, and then you can masterwork on your gear with armor or something. There are multiple parts where you can get some more armor. You don't need your Zinc Shell. So much people using your Zinc Shell, it's just bullshit. You don't need it. It just sucks your life out, and if you get one hard hit on a higher pit, you're just dead. You have nothing, and you get no dexterity on it. And here you have 327 dexterity, which gets adaptive stances. That's like 450, 460 dexterity. That's 460 more damage percent. It's not a multiplier, it's in stack, but it does more damage. And you need some resistances too, so no need for your Zinc Shell. Just the defense. Important is the defensive armory for more damage. You get some resistance because you need some resistance. Yeah, and you do the tempering for total armor and barrier generation. So that's just a really defensive thing. Of course, green emerald. And the gloves. The gloves are crit strike, crit damage, dexterity, feather damage, and barrier generation with the unyielding hits. A plain damage calculator here. You can use max life for critical strike damage here too, if you are not that defensive, or you can use armor here too. You have to have a bit around what you find on armor. It's important you have enough armor. That's the most damage multiplier because it does the base weapon damage. So armor is most important, then some life, and then. But if you have everything, critical strike damage here is the best, and that's max roll end game build. So this is the critical strike one. And the leggings here. Armor, dexterity, resistance, straightforward, like the chest. Everything to boost armor, everything to boost more dex, and some generation. Here you have the 15% block chance per resolve stack. It's needed for the next one, for redirected force. 150% of your block chance, so you press on the start of your run, you press armored height, get 10 stacks. So you get 150% block chance. You can lose some resolve. It's not needed that you have 15% here. It's just 10% would be enough. You get 10% from your skill here. So start with 10. If you have 10% here and lose one, doesn't matter. You can't stack over 100% block chance. So just go easy on this and don't waste any money. Just have 100%, and that's enough for redirected force. We use a polearm. Polearm has the most base damage, so we need any attack speed. It's a little bit slower, but we just press evade, so attack speed just doesn't matter. Dexterity is the most important. Critical strike damage would be nice too, and the masterworking should be on Furnace, because Furnace is a multiplier, and multiplier are fair superior than the other effects. Dex would be nice too, Storm Feather is nice too, but Furnace is very superior than the other choices for masterworking. So this one is a hard one to masterwork. like this one, because a potent does 2%, 2 or 3% more damage per stack. I think it was 2. So if you masterwork this, then and you get in Furnace. Furnace does very less damage than potent. Not very, but if you have a 3 hit on potent, you will feel it then if you have a 3 hit on Furnace. So potent is the best one, and acceleration the second one, like I said earlier. The rings are relatively straightforward. We use Hunter cooldown reduction because we have to keep up our ferocity stacks, so the reduction is important. So on both reduction, and then you should have decks, one with critical strike chance, just one. It's enough. And then what you need is some have life, some critical strike damage, depending on what you need. That's not very important. Important is you have a star on decks, and then one with critical strike, and the rest like you need it. Yeah, and we have here, if you wait, Storm Feathers falling down, and you pick them up to grow the Sunbird area. It works really well. You don't have to keep any patience on it. Just do forward, backward on a bigger group, and automatically the aura will grow. So yeah, but it's important because the aura gets really strong. And here, just a straightforward thing. It's barrier. You have 100% barrier uptime, so you do 30% multiplier damage. We do have the skulls here in the jewelry because you need more armor because of unyielding hits. Yeah, the gameplay is a little bit other than what's out here at the time, because a lot of people using Harlequins, Armored Hide, and have to have an uptime here for the 100%. Because they don't use interdiction. But we don't need this. The only thing what's important here is we have to press something all 3 seconds to get unyielding hits. Every skill is a gorilla skill because we have a worker. So we just have to press here something. Doesn't matter. Can bind Thunder Spike too. And if you press, you activate unyielding hits. You don't have to press all the time Armored Hide and have a cooldown reduction from 1 billion to get every work. No, just do your rota and do nothing. And this works out. Yeah, sure, you have to look a little bit to do some base vortex, or to not to do the spirit halls in the straight way because of adaptive stances, but it's in every build the same. Have like start with let's say you get in a group, then vortex it, hunter, then do a stomp, or start and run typically with the armored hide, and then just flow through everything and pressing the stuff to keep up your unyielding hits, but everything does something, so it's not useless. Important here is just the hunter, so you can finish higher mobs. I think you can see in the video it's a nice thing to just kill the elite mobs in higher pit things. Vortex is nice because of grouping in higher pits, or situations to here is the dodge chance is nice. Yeah, Armored Hide does nothing. Really nothing. Yeah, nothing important. The stomp is to, if you lose a lot of barrier on one time, you can stomp and keep it a little bit up. It's nice to have too. Yeah, and if you ask why now rune, the Zick rune do not trigger unyielding hits anymore. It was last season, you can't use it. I have a Zick rune here, and it does all the time. You just have to do nothing to activate unyielding hits, but does not work anymore. Yeah, and yeah, that's the build. I hit the first place for Await today, and I'm feeling if I masterwork my gear better, get some better glyphs, get some better stuff, there is potential for maybe even a pit 90 with Evade. And I think that's fairly good. Didn't see anything like this out there, so maybe give it a try and yeah, leave some notes or comments.